Breaking up is hard to do, especially when you're monumentally motherfucking stupid. Sweethearts is a Max original written and directed by Jordan Weiss, or Weiss, not actually sure how to pronounce that. She's done projects like Dollface TV, check out her IMDb page for the fullest of her work, and written by Dan Breyer. And this features Kiernan Shipka and Nico Haraga. No, I said Nico, no Hulk, but nevertheless, they played Jamie and Ben. Two lifelong friends have done everything together. Well, almost everything. They haven't done a lot of the I don't think that's actually how anatomy works, but nevertheless, they are really, really close. They are dating respective people. They've been dating since high school, and they're in their freshman year of college. And, well, Ben feels pressured by his very, very clingy girlfriend, Claire. And let's just say Jamie is kind of tired of basically only texting her boyfriend, Simon, when she is really, really lonely. And she kind of has her own issues. Ben has his own issues. They decide we're going to take our issues, put them on one ship, and then we're going to drive that ship, which you don't really drive a ship. You navigate a goddamn ship right into Thanksgiving, where they're going to break up with their significant others. But it's not going to be easy. Nor is it going to be funny. Nor is it going to be good. Nor is it going to be anything original. Ironically, despite being a Max original, oh boy, me oh my, down on the goddamn rom-com cliche bayou. I didn't expect much when I saw, this poster and saw the cast. Even though I like Kiernan Shipka and Nico is good, and Caleb Heron, who was in I Used to Be Funny and actually delivered a better, more well-rounded character there. He plays Palmer, and I do want to shout Claire, who was played by Ava DeMary, who was in After Yang. That was a project that reached for the stars and didn't really actually ever get out of orbit, but nevertheless, you have the components here to make things work, and there are ideas that feel half-baked. There are storylines that could have worked, but overall, for a 98-minute movie with end credits, this thing feels very stretched out. It also feels like it probably could have been like 2 episodes of a rom-com series on Netflix or Max, and you could have just maybe put some of these subplots and put a few things going on, like different characters. Oh, some characters might be having doubts, some characters might be cheating, other shit might be going on. The gross out humor doesn't necessarily work, and I don't mind gross out humor, but none of the gags work. This feels like something that was plucked from about 20 years ago, if not the late 90s, right around My Miss American Pie. And also, I do have to say that the chemistry between Kiernan and Nico is virtually non-existent. While they are talented actors and there are just a couple halfway decent moments, no, realistically, it's just, again, half-baked ideas. There's this thing about Palmer's character being... I'm just going to spoil this part because fuck you, and it's not really something worth keeping for the spoiler section. Palmer is gay and isn't... He's afraid to show out that he's gay. His friends know, and it turns out a lot of other people know. And then he finds camaraderie, one particular character that helps him basically just realize he can be out and proud. He doesn't have to go to another country, have another job, study abroad or whatever. And there's this thing about Ben. He wants to go to Copenhagen, not the snuff, and study abroad. But he's afraid to tell Jamie because they do everything together, except, again, the sex. And, yeah, once things kick into gear... That doesn't actually really happen. This movie barely gets out of neutral. And, sorry, the sight gags don't really work. The humor doesn't really work. There's not a lot of sweetness to this. This all could have been avoided by just simply saying, hey, let's talk, let's just break up. They try to make it convoluted for funny purposes, and it just doesn't fucking work. There's like one little side plot with Palmer and the football coach, and a couple other characters. I actually would have been happy watching that story play out, and even that gets a little bit annoying. Also, the character that Palmer realizes that, that can help him, become, just be more him, played by Miles Goodyear as Riley, who's in Smile 2. He was the assistant. Christine Taylor is also in this. There's talent in this cast, but there's just no good writing. At least no good humorous writing. I mean, I'm not saying there wasn't an effort, but the effort just did not get displayed on screen. I'm going to get into spoilers. That's all I got to say. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. So, yeah, basically we see a montage, a stop-motion montage thing of all these, memories, the stuff they did in high school. mimicking phone sex. I mean, whatever, however you people get down. Um, I don't know why that was meant to be funny, because, I mean, if people still do that, that's fine. And then it turns out that Ben's girlfriend is still in high school. Don't worry, she's 18. It's none of that stuff going on here. It's just because she failed first grade. And based on how the character is played, not the actress, but the character, that kind of makes sense. They decide they basically want to break up with their goddamn significant others. Because Claire is clingy, Simon's an idiot, and there's this thing going back to, like, you know, why Jamie is a little bit, you know, reserved and kind of like, you know, afraid that people aren't going to necessarily like her, because she was labeled as a homewrecker. She got stung by a bee. She went to talk to her friend Megan's dad because he's a doctor. Ripped off her shirt. She was only 12 years old. And that, for some reason, got her labeled as a homewrecker, despite the fact that after Megan's birthday party, the parents were going to break up anyway, but Megan, being, I assume, 11 or 12 years old, did not know this. Rumors got spread and all that. That factors in a little bit later to the finish. Palmer is in Paris. And, of course, he's gay. Who cares? If you have a problem with people being gay, you got a problem with yourself. This really feels like it was filmed 20 years ago, except for the technology. And I'm sorry, but the humor barely would have hit 20 years ago. Ben is stronger than me at this one party. If I was his age, at this party where he had this prank, he had these jugs taped to him, and a very attractive curly hair girl was dancing with him. If I was at that age, and that, it would be very difficult to resist. And they decide to do the breakup after this. But Ben's roommate borrows his car again to go home for Thanksgiving, so they have to catch a bus. There's this one little side thing with this one character that it's just like, oh, I got to hear all your nagging, all your stuff after you said that you were to get all this stuff going on. This character, not very funny. I don't really see the point as to why half of these jokes were made, because they weren't funny. In Palmer's idea, he's home for Thanksgiving out of France. He is going to have Simon and Claire at this party. And, you know, Ben and Jamie are going to show up, and then we're going to get the breakups. Of course, it's not that easy, because we still have about 50 or 55 minutes left. And they drink absinthe. Oh boy, that's good. That's a good idea. Palmer then basically has to go get them while they're in the street. He talks to the football coach again. The football coach had talked to Simon, and then it gets revealed the football coach is actually gay. Everybody accepts that, because who really fucking cares if somebody's gay? It doesn't matter about the sexuality. Are they a good person? If they're a good person, if they contribute to society, if they're not a fucking goddamn dick, who cares? They can fuck a goddamn dick, but just not be a fucking goddamn dick. So nevertheless, Claire and Simon are running around all drunk. And then Jamie and Ben basically take this bicycle built for two. Again, I cannot stress enough how there is absolutely no chemistry between these two. Like, sans like one or two scenes, the humor is awkward. Not even awkward situations that are funny, just awkward because they were trying to fill space. So, basically, we then take a sidebar where Parker and, or Palmer rather, goes with the coach. The coach shows that he's got a boyfriend. They're doing bowling. The boyfriend, I think his name was Ethan. I think. I don't know and don't necessarily care. He talks about being, Leighton Meester's dog walker of some variety. Who remembers Leighton Meester when she tried to be a big actress? I don't remember the last thing I saw her in. Nevertheless, this is the better story, but then he decides to come out and he decides to go on one of those fireman lifts. But basically, Jamie and Ben got into this bar with a fake ID, because they snuck in after Ben tried to use a fake ID of a guy that was dead. Okay. And we get the usual. The friends blame each other. He says, I may be a pushover. You just want to be accepted, but you won't allow yourself to be accepted. Megan offers them a ride because just a little bit before that, Megan has said she's been going to therapy. She doesn't blame Jamie for any of that. She's sorry she called her a homewrecker. And then his dad gives them a ride. They end up going to this party of Kurt's. Jamie did not know that Ben was going to Copenhagen. She's upset at him. They decide to finally do the breakup. And then there's this character, Lucas, played by Miles, that talked to him and the coach at the bar, or the diner. It's like a 50s diner in Ohio. I know it's Ohio, but come on. And nothing against Ohio, but I've heard they have so many old places there. Now, that being said, obviously, there's a love interest thing, or potential for a love interest, which nothing wrong with that. It's just, again, half-baked. And then there's a guy named Kurt who has this house, and I assume it's his parents' house. He decides he's going to cook a turkey over a goddamn open flame. Because he's either high or stupid. I'm guessing both. And Jamie and Ben finally do the breakups. It doesn't go as well as they would have thought because Jamie tries to at least be halfway decent about it. Ben gives this flowery speech. And yeah, it's tough to break up with people, especially if there are feelings, but if there's not feelings on one end, you can't hang on just to that just for the sake of it. There have been relationships I've been in. I was in a super long-term relationship for me, just over 3 years. And look, it ended badly. And then there was camaraderie. There was understanding because it's like, why were we mad? We're happier apart. And I haven't talked to them in a number of years, and I wish her nothing but the best. So that being said, yeah, Thanksgiving, we get Thanksgiving dinner, all this stuff's going on. There's a brief little hookup just before that where Jamie and Ben try. Maybe they will have feelings for each other. Well, they have one kiss. Oh no. But then Ben is watching When Harry Met Sally. And you know how that one went. Well, in this, we kind of get twisted around, where Ben runs up and basically tells Jamie, I don't have any romantic attraction to you or sexual attraction to you, but I want to be your best friend. I really care about you, but I don't care about you that way. And Jamie was relieved. She thought that things were going to go tits up. So they end up talking to the exes. 6 months later, they reunite, they're dancing, and everything's good. I just would really like to know what the bloody point of this whole movie was, because it started in one place and really just only kind of went there. It didn't really accomplish anything. There was no character growth, no character arc. Nothing really was learned. And yeah, it's inoffensive, but it's bad because it's boring. It's really, really boring. I'm sorry, it gets an F. It's not good. So, agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd handles in the description. I'm John Rickland. I'll see you soon.